The story begins with Yuman, a student without friends, that bullies take advantage of him and mistreat him and call him a geek because of the glasses he always wears. Yuman goes to a terrible school where there is a secret ranking where students are valued not by intelligence, but by the strength they have and how they fight. But one day, he gets fed up and decides to beat up some bullies because behind his appearance, we see that he has been training for a long time, that he exercises every day, and has a supernatural strength. In that moment, he sees Kim, who could be his best friend, and approaches him, but is just attacked by another boy looking for a fight to climb positions in the ranking and maintain his reputation. Then Kim loses the fight and curses the ranking that was created by Han, who has the first place in the entire school and is the son of a delinquent. So, everyone is afraid of him. Then a teacher arrives at class who in the past gave private lessons to Yuman, for which he secretly appreciates her, and she will be his new teacher. The students treat her badly, they throw food at her, even one of them farts, that makes her smell horrible. Then Mo wakes up, a student from the back row, and goes asking who made fun of her. When he finds out who he is, he hits him over and over again in the face. And it turns out that Mo is one of the strongest students, and as soon as someone looks at him badly, he responds with punches, and we see that he even throws one out the door. Then Yuman, surprised by this, decides to create a study group with which to end the bullying at school. For this reason, he seeks to befriend Kim, who is the first to form his group. But he is not convinced to accept because he is quite a coward. Even so, Yuman does not give up and insists. Just when Mo corners Kim and gives him a few good punches, Mo tells him to give him tomorrow the 20,000 that he lent him, or else he will break his legs. So, the protagonist with a mask on his face rescues him, and Kim explains that he asked Mo for money to pay for school since his father is a drunk. Yuman takes pity on him, offering to pay for his school, and in fact defends him when Mo tries to hit him again. Then Yuman, with a single blow, gives Mo what he deserves and helps Kim, who begins to have a greater friendship. For this, Yuman gives his friend his notebook with which to study, but Mo interrupts him abruptly by throwing a chair at his head. He discovers that Yuman is the guy with the mask who hit him, so he orders everyone to leave the class because he has business with him. Mo burns Yuman's notebook, who tries to reach him before it burns, to which he hits him with an iron, but he blocks all his blows and even makes him fall to the ground, surprising the students that he is winning. Yuman discovers that his notebook burned, so angry he becomes a critiquer who punches him everywhere. Then Mo counterattacks by throwing a burning backpack at him, but Yuman, with a somersault in the air, returns the backpack burning and leaves him unconscious. Yuman then tries to wake him up so that he apologizes to Kim, who, surprised by his strength, agrees to be his friend. And the teacher enters the classroom and puts out the fire. Then the principal goes to him and does an investigation, in which in the end they accuse him of assault and battery to the point that they want to expel him. But the teacher supports him and says that the only thing Yuman did was defend herself from violence. She reveals that in this school there are many bullies, and then the principal promises not to expel them, and he manages to convince 5 people to join his anti-bullying study group. The next day they go around the school asking the kids to join their group. People look at them strangely because they never studied, and 4 hours later they discover that nobody came to the bookstore except one student who has the goal of beating him up. He is the 3rd strongest boy in the school, and Yuman thinks that he is actually his friend. The guy confronts him, and the proter accidentally hits him in the face to the point that he knocks him out. The students are amazed and spread around the school that he is a legend and is climbing positions in the fighter rankings. So now he is in the number 10 position. However, because of this, the boys are very afraid of him and do not want to join his group. The teacher is the only one who is kind to them, even offers them food, but when they go home, Mo is inside with his face totally kicked. So she tries to calm him down, but he does not have good intentions and grabs her by the hair, throwing her to the ground. He takes an iron with which it seems that he is going to kill her. Luckily she asks for help from Yuman, who goes as fast as she can, and in a garage she fights with them to defend her. However, they punch her, and he as revenge shows them the strength that he has. He gives them what they deserve. After this, he receives a message from a student who wants to join his group. So happy he goes to meet him, but discovers that he entered a girls-only classroom, and who sent him the message is Lena, Mo's twin sister, so he is afraid to talk to her, although her beauty and mystery fascinate him. We see that Lena also receives bullying, even they hit her for not defending herself. But when they treat her friend Lee badly, she transforms into a beast of fights and twists the hand of the bully, which, angry, responds with a kick. And seeing his agenda, he throws a disgusting gum at him. Yuman enters and grabs the gum while taking a look at the agenda, proud that Lena is also an organized girl and looks so much like him. In that Leon enters, an older boy who is a friend of the Bull and claims to be Lena's boyfriend. The bully threatens to break his bones and Yuman is not afraid of him, although his friend insists that they leave because it is very dangerous. Later Leon accuses Lena for talking to a man without his permission and orders that she be punished. If she wants to be saved, she has to give him a kiss, but she prefers to be punished, so the guy hits her several times without mercy. To their surprise, they throw a gum in her face and Yuman, who returned to defend her. Then the bully takes off her glasses believing that he is stronger than Yuman, who agrees to fight, and in the middle the supervisor appears. Leon pretends that he likes Yuman and tells him that they will see each other soon. So he stays in the middle of all the girls at school. Although he loves the truth, then he meets with his friend and suddenly enters Lena's friend, who confesses that she was the one who sent him the message because Lena is being bullied. Because she helped her when she entered school, she was envious of her for being pretty, and Lena defended her. So she became the Diana of the bullies, and now she suffers the consequences, being every day a hell. For that reason, she asks for help to save her from the bullies. Kim, who is a coward, refuses to help her. She gives him eyes, and because of her angelic beauty, he changes his mind, which makes Yumi laugh because it is clear that she likes him. Then he hides in a closet where the bullies are laughing, and when they least expect it, he gives them a salad of kicks and punches that makes them minced until only Leon is left, who thinks that he does this because he has a crush on Lena. The shy protagonist does not respond, and what is done is to get revenge. But in the middle he realizes that Leon was uploading a video in which Lena's brother comes out robbing a bank. With this video, he blackmails Lena, and for that reason, steals the USB with the recording and leaves. But three guys find out that he hit his friends, so they go after him, and he fights everyone he can. In the end, they immobilize him, and Leon goes to upload the recording that will make Lena sad, and at the last moment, Yuman steals the computer and runs away. He suddenly trips, and by chance, the PC falls in front of Kim, who is scared and doesn't know what to do. Yumal gives him strength and throws himself on top of all the rooms so that Kim can escape. On the roof, Leon finds him and threatens to kill him if he doesn't give him the computer. He decides to throw it out of the building, causing it to break. An angry Leon goes for him without expecting Lena to grab him and fight with him. In fact, she gives him a wrestling blow that looks like it hurts a lot, and it is clear that Lena is a strong-willed girl with whom you shouldn't fight. So Yuman is fascinated by her. Suddenly, Lin's brother appears with a knife in his hand to kill Leon. When he is going to do it, the teacher stands in front of him and suffers the blow, which makes him bleed so much that his blood goes out. She reveals that she stood in front so that her little brother would not ruin her future with a murder, proving that she truly cares about her students. For this, Yuman quickly takes her to the hospital where she undergoes emergency surgery, and they manage to keep her alive. Lena apologizes for what her brother did and promises to pay her hospital expenses. Yumi, to do him a favor, offers to pay for what Lena likes. He asks her, in exchange, to join his group of friends that he is forming to fight against bullying, and she is delighted to join. In fact, when he notices her as a possible girlfriend, they throw a brick through their window, and when he looks out, he sees that it was a bully who wants to fight him to rise in the school ranking. He tells him to come down right now, and Yuman answers that he can consider himself the winner if he wants, which confuses the guy. So to get his attention, he goes to Kozinaparo, a red-haired student who actually admires Yuman and suffers a lot of bullying. Then, Yuman gets hot-blooded, and as incredible as it may seem, he jumps out the window and lands with a punch in the face of the bully. His friends run away full of fear, and Snapper asks him to enter his group of friends. But Yumi sees in his eyes a desire for revenge and blood that he does not like. He allows it, but alone, and he is only a good student. So he puts a book in front of him and asks him to solve some math problems. At that moment, a mobster enters the library and forces him to go with him to an abandoned factory where we see that he is a member of a famous mafia and his goal is to collect the strongest students from each school so that the mafia is invincible. Then, they give him a test in which he can join them if he gets to the car before they kill him. But when trying, they give him a tremendous beating because he is weak and fails the test. So they are going to kill him until Yuman appears to defend him because he is his new friend. The mobster laughs at his words, so they decide to teach him what is good. First, Lena hits one of them so many times that she breaks even the bones that he did not know, surprising Yuman. Well, apart from seeming pretty like the sun, he is a beast that needs you to kiss his lips. That's why Yuman also joins the fight, but the mob boss stops his blow, being the first time that someone blocks a punch of his. The The mobster insults his friends and especially Lena, which bothers the protagonist because he doesn't allow them to talk about his love like that. He decides to use a dangerous technique that his teacher warned him not to use because it could kill someone. He starts by throwing him at the wall, making him fly, hits him in the head, and then with the speed of a cheater, he gives him millions of punches to the point that he goes through the wall. He goes to put on his glasses, but a car appears behind him with the aim of running him over, and luckily, the redhead pushes him, showing that, of course, he is his friend. After this, the police arrest the members of the gang, and the officer asks what adult did this. The group reveals that it was themselves, and the policeman is surprised that some students have defeated a gang of the mafia. Once at home, he creates a group in which they put their new friends, and we see that all of them suffered bullying at one point in their lives, and now they are together to end the bullying at school. Then, most of the students turn against them. Even Leon comments inappropriate things about Lena, so Human replies that he should never talk about her like that. Also, the teacher helps them to pass because she is the only one in the school that they like and tells them that in order for the intelligence level of this school to rise, they have to compete against others in an intelligence contest. After this, they see that the school is exactly the opposite of theirs since it is very modern, clean, and quiet while theirs is dirty. They sit in front of the other students who make fun of them, and Human realizes that he went to the wrong school and entered the most conflictive one in the city where there are continually fights. In fact, some students are hitting a poor boy, and he, by his instinct of revenge, begins to fight with them, showing him the justice that exists for doing bullying. The next day, they return to the place where they meet, but they realize that someone destroyed the place to send them a message of that they are not welcome. This does not make them give up, and they start cleaning and organizing the place, while everyone's hearts are joining in friendship and above all in a love that floats between them. However, a guy smoking bullies them, insists that they do not try to stop the harassment, and just the teacher arrives, and he shuts up like a chicken because he does not dare to yell at her. The teacher reveals to him that there are 20 days left for the final exam, and that they must pass. Suddenly, Kim runs out because her father calls her asking for help, and Lee chases him because she sees him depressed. She discovers that Kim comes from a very poor family, and although he got very good grades as a child, they made fun of him for being poor. For this, he lacks confidence, but it is obvious that Lee admires him, and the two have a moment of love. But suddenly, they meet some bullies on the road. They make fun of him for being weak, and when the girl tries to defend him, they also hit her. Kim yells at them to stop, and since they do not listen to him, he tries to save her by biting the bully's arm, who angrily punches Kim, that leaves him on the ground full of pain. Luckily, Human appears and with a simple flick of his finger, makes him fly to Madagascar. Everyone is amazed and takes pictures to send them to the director. So he, with a secret technique, takes away their phones and deletes all the photos they took of him. Then he goes to worry about his injured friend, who feels ashamed because he is weak and cannot defend himself. He runs away without caring about Human's feelings, and at home, his father confronts him and calls him a bastard for not giving him money. The father says that he is as miserable as his mother, who died, and he promises that he will complete his studies to be more like him. When he leaves home, Human is waiting for him and offers to live with him in his house. Kim rejects his help because he says that he is not a small child and believes that he does not need anyone's help. However, when he leaves, the bully from before appears looking for revenge, and he feels afraid and calls Human, who gives him advice on how to defend himself from the bully. He avoids all the bully's blows like a ninja, and he realizes that Human is on the roof watching him. Then the bully feels tired from so many wrong hits, and the protagonist tells his friend that it's his chance. He raises his fists and hits him in such a strange way that they both fall to the ground. This causes him to lose connection with Human, so the bully continues hitting him with all his strength so that he regrets having come. Seeing this, Human runs for his friend, while Kim remembers all the times he suffered harassment, all the teasing, and decides to change this. So he draws strength from within his soul, and for the first time he hits the bully on the head, making him even lose consciousness. Kim is surprised and happy about what he did, and Human takes him to his house to sleep. But when he arrives, his mother is waiting for him and seems upset that he's late again, and Human is very afraid of his mother. He explains that he was helping his friend, and his mother lets Kim sleep with them, and the truth is she worries about him as if he was her son. This is because she wanted to have another child and couldn't. So he treats Kim with a respect that he never felt, and he truly thanks him for it. Then, while the two friends sleep together, he realizes that Human is so obsessed with studying because his father was a famous, very intelligent scientist, and they have always pressured him to be like him. For that reason, his mother meets with the director and realizes that this school is terrible for her son and forces him to transfer him to another institute with more money in Seoul. Then, his friends, in order for him to stay, have to prove that this school is good for him. For that reason, when they see a student smoking, they take the cigarette away from him with a blow and then they throw perfume in the air so that he doesn't smell the smoke. They become spies and cover the mouth of the one with the cigarette when they pass by, but their plan fails because there are millions of more cigarettes on the ground. Before their mother leaves, they stop the car and ask her not to take Yumi because she is their true friend. However, they are not able to convince the mother who leaves, and they do not give up. Thanks to the teacher, they all chase him in a car while Lena, with her heart in a fist, screams for her beloved to come back. In that moment, a motorcycle stops in front of them, causing them to almost crash, and it turns out that they stopped them so they can't reach Yuman because they want him to leave school. They can't derotate, so the redhead decides to use the secret technique that Yuman taught him to float through the air. He hits the bully in the foot. After this madness, Lena drives the car and arrives where Yuman is, and they tell him that they can't take him, because since he came into their lives, they are happier, and he is the only one who can make their school become a safe place. Yuman is the chosen one to save them from the villains, and his mother finally understands that her son made friends who truly love him, and that they are good people. In fact, the teacher also speaks well of him and chooses him as the leader to end the bullying. In the middle of a gang enters, and their boss is CHN, the second strongest student in the school and is super dangerous because he has a firearm. Then he orders them to kidnap all the boys, and although Yuman prepares to hit them, to their surprise, it is their mother who defends them by killing one of the gang in less than a second. However, Chan laughs, and it is because she has a gun that the teacher points at. Their mother runs to defend her, and Chan shoots at the glass next to her, so her mother suffers cuts all over her body. Then she goes to the emergency room, and Yuman knows that the one behind all this is Han, the strongest boy in the school, so he plans to get revenge on him. Although his guards stop him, and Han makes fun of his mother being in the hospital showing the evil that is in his body. Then Han sends his bodyguard to kill him, and they hit him so hard that his bones turn into dough. They think they defeated him, but just Yuman remembers the words of his coach who told him to keep control of his mind in a single point to use all his strength. He then gets up, and with the infinite power of his love, he uses the forbidden fighting methods that grabs ears, breaks noses, and shows them that hate will never win in the world. Then he goes for Han, because all the bad that happened, it was his fault. And although the director is in the middle of a speech, he gives him a super strong punch in front of all the students. So Han returns the blow with a very painful kick, and the two stand face to face to show who has more power. It turns out that Yuman is now second in the ranking, and they fight to get the first place. Then the final fight arrives, and the teacher supports him by filing a complaint against the school for its violence, and the director reprimands her because they could close the school for this. He forces her to go up on stage to apologize, and when she is there, she explains that the educational system of this school is a failure and must be changed immediately. Then she reveals that last year a teacher died at this school, and the director hid the murder. She knows it because a year ago she had dinner with the teacher and told her about the violence of this place. In fact, she came here expressly to investigate it and to change the thinking of the students. She says that Yuman is one of the few boys who is interested in having a future going to university instead of ending up in a mafia. In addition, this revelation has consequences for the teacher who marginalizes her, and as they have both the police investigate her for fraud and stealing money, although she did not do anything, then Yuman helps her say that she is innocent, and they realize that the final exam is coming. Yuman is surprised at how easy the questions are and answers them very quickly. He is happy and thinks that he is going to get very good grades, but he hears his friends reviewing the exam and discovers that most of the questions are wrong, so he is very upset to fail again. Then his mother, while recovering, calls the teacher thanking her for taking care of her son and asks where he is, since he didn't come home. She explains that he went with his friends after the exam, and she worries because she knows that her son goes into shock after taking an exam. In fact, Yuman cannot control his nerves, and although his friends talk to him, he enters a parallel world and begins to hit everything that moves without controlling himself. His friends are very worried about him and give him all the love they can, but he feels useless. In the middle, the grandfather of a blonde boy from school dies without friends, and who was the villain's guard, have now they become his friend. They accompany her in her sadness, giving her strength. Then the exam results appear, and her friends, happy to pass, are expectant of Yuman's grades. He discovers that he passed and that he is no longer one of the stupidest in the school. Because of this, the teacher can show the director that the study group works, and therefore changes the rules of the school. The first thing he does is file a complaint against Han, who arrives at school, and the blonde boy who is now part of the disciplinary committee makes him get out of the car to go on foot, something that had never happened. There we discover that Han was the guy who killed the teacher and is the creator of so much violence at school, and no one can defeat him except Human, who becomes his main enemy. So Han, to change public opinion, meets with his father, the delinquent, and sends some influencers to the school who spread false rumors that Yumini and her friends are bullies. The director takes advantage to punish them and prohibits them from fighting or plans to expel them. After this, they are surprised to see all the students fighting each other, and it is because Han offered a reward of a lot of money to the last one who remains standing. This means that Han has total control of the school, and tells him that it is impossible to change it because the students only listen to him and are his slaves. To top it off, he forces them to cancel their study group, and his guards dismantle everything they built. Then Human, as he is forbidden to fight, stays still, and his friends are disappointed with him. Each one goes their own way, but he, while remembering the sweet moments he spent with his friends, does not plan to allow this injustice. He is forced to reunite the study group once again to end the reign of terror that Han has at the school. Meanwhile, the teacher gets a recording in which the director confesses that Han's father pays for the school so that his son can do whatever he wants. The director flees in fear, and when she chases him, she realizes that Han's gang set a trap and is in real danger. Luckily, Human arrives with his friends, and they manage to take the teacher. Then, Han and Human are left alone, and they begin the fight of the century, punching each other. They realize that they have exactly the same strength. While each of his friends fights with Han's gang and tries to defeat him quickly in order to help his beloved, they engage in a fight of true titans in which they use all their strength. In the end, Han defeats him and tortures him by bending his ankle, causing him damage that he can hardly bear. But his true pain is knowing that his loved ones are suffering because Lena is being killed and the teacher is about to die. In fact, Han makes fun of his friends, and Human, fed up, uses all his strength. He jumps off the walls at full speed and hits him from all directions, without Han knowing where the blows are coming from. Then, with his last punch, he hits him so hard that he breaks the ground and manages to defeat him. Human becomes number 1 in the ranking, and when he goes to save the teacher, she faints suddenly. She sees that Han's Armada gang stands in front of her, and before dying, she appears to her with a bat willing to sacrifice her life for her. She is not the only one because each of her students also starts to defend her, regardless of whether they die, because they know that they will have done it for friendship. Then, the great battle breaks out, and finally, Human's friends win. The next day, in a disciplinary meeting, they decide to punish Han for what he did and expel him from school. He leaves the meeting angry and realizes that the police are waiting for him because they accuse him of murder and take him to jail. The director is also arrested for accepting bribes and asks them to smoke a cigarette before. But the teacher takes it away from him and says that from now on she makes the rules, and it is forbidden. Human also changes the school for the better and decides to delete the fighting ranking application from the students' phones so that a person is never again valued by how they fight, but by the intelligence and kindness of their hearts. For this reason, Human begins a new stage in this school with his friends, who are the light of his world. Whenever he feels sad, he will find love Lena in others because a true friend is someone who always takes you by the hand and, above all, touches your heart. And this is the end. If you enjoyed the recap and want to stay updated with all our future content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll never miss any recap from us.